really not in a rush to watch Thursday Night Football. It's
Unless
like,
it's our team,
you know, I really don't
Giants,
care.
yep.
So.
Right.
I'm with you on that.
It's funny because, like, this is the first year I think I've ever really, be honest with you, was actually selective for the entire every week this year. That was selective with the games to watch. Like I don't think I've watched an entire weekend of football, an entire slate of football on a Sunday this year. Because what I've done, obviously, Giant games, and then if there's a big game on somewhere, I'll watch it. But I've actually I think I've missed some more Sunday games this year than I've actually watched.
And shout out, I don't know how the NFL has done it because their matchups on Monday Night Football have been dreadful, but the games have been amazing.
Yeah, like Ravens, Browns.
Terrible matchups. Yeah, it's a terrible matchup, but I think this week it's Giants Dolphins. Like no one's really looking out for that game, but I guarantee you it's gonna be a good game. That's how all these games on Monday Night Football have been.
Yeah. Which I'm still trying to go to that game, by the way. Yeah, it's down here. First giant game here in 19 years.
That's actually the first Monday Night Football game I want to miss, but I probably won't.
No, you're a dick. See, there you go.
I can kill that.
There you go. You're back in asshole mode. Okay, get off of sports a little bit. Did you see the Billboard's all-time top 10 hip hop list?
Yeah, I did. It really made no sense.
You didn't like it, huh? I caught issue with this one person on the list.
Who?
Lil Wayne. Anybody else? I can see the argument. Wait.
Lil Wayne.
Huh?
And I can understand, in terms of, I'm not a Lil Wayne fan. But, when you're looking at a certain era for a certain timepiece, he was the most dominant name in hip-hop for, 5 years.
Agreed.
Remember, hip-hop's still a very young culture. He's still, and hip-hop's still, 30, 40 years in hip-hop culture? A very young culture. And he pretty much dominated for 5 years. And plus, he's the most relevant of those names today, So I could understand, but he's going to be in my top 10. He wouldn't be in my top 20.
Well,
but I could understand how a magazine like Billboard that really has no idea what to do with hip hop would put Lil Wayne there. My issue was Lauryn Hill in the top 10.
No,
why? I'm not saying Lauryn Hill isn't talented because she was talented, but one fucking album.
I guess you got a point there. The amount of material that she put out probably wasn't fair
Still
to justify.
Not enough.
Yeah, she did one Fuji's
Still
record.
Not enough.
She two Fuji records? 2 Fuji records or 1 Fuji record?
It was 2 Fuji records and her solo album, which her solo album is one of the best albums I've heard in my life. Mm-hmm. Beautiful album from start to finish. The Fuji albums were all right. Let's be honest about the Fugees. Everybody talks about the Fugees. The Fugees had a lot of filler on their album.
You think so?
A lot of filler. Their good songs were great, but then there was a lot of stupid filler with Wyclef acting like he was Bob fucking Marley or something on it, singing and playing a ukulele or whatever the hell he wanted. Some of the songs just got weird, but
all right,
I had a problem with Lauryn Hill on there. Who else? Do you remember the list? Do you have it?
I was just going to read off right now for the listeners who don't know the list who are familiar with this topic. Here is the list 1 through 10 in order: Biggie, which I have no problem with that at all. Jay-Z, Eminem, Rakim, Nas, Andre 3000, surprisingly, which I actually love that selection. Lauryn Hill, Ghostface Killah, Kendrick Lamar, and Lil Wayne. That's the order that Billboard says is the top 10 all-time greatest hip-hop artists, of all time.
Even though Tupac's not in my top 10, I'm just surprised he wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm very shocked. And that's the biggest gripe is why isn't Tupac there? He has enough records to justify that. He had a strong impact on the culture and whatnot in the 90s. His death he's like a martyr almost.
And for me, it's like guys like Scarface, guys like Jadakiss, I always feel that's why I really don't like any of the hip hop debates because I get really upset because Scarface is a legend. Jadakiss is probably the one guy no artist can really mess with line for line.
He scares me too in person.
Pound for pound, he's probably one of the best that we ever had in Jadakiss. The Ghostface Killah selection is interesting because I actually like the fact he's on the top 10. He might be in the top 15 for mine. But he's so off the wall and makes no sense sometimes that I can understand why some people want to understand why he's there.
Yeah, I was surprised though. They had Lauryn Hill here too. But then you think about Lauryn Hill, I think the only argument against her really isn't the fact that she doesn't belong here. It's the fact that there's not enough material to justify her being here on this list. Because everybody else on this list has had at least 3 or 4 albums. I guess Biggie, he has 3 albums, Biggie?
Yeah, no, just 2, really. It was 2, really. And then he had the posthumous album. But think of his 2 albums are arguably 2 of the greatest of all time. So,
right.
I mean,
I mean, the thing is, the same we said about Lauryn Hill too, because the score was humongous. The score was one of the biggest albums of that year in '96.
See, but the score, a lot of that though, even though I just made fun of him, a lot of that you got to give credit to Wyclef. I mean, he was the man on production, the songwriting. What Wyclef was. Like, the food is really Wyclef and Lauren, so it's like Wyclef had a huge
Pras never gets any love, bro. Pras doesn't get any love on that record whatsoever.
He stinks. He was the worst part. No one ever understood why Pras was part of the group. No one ever understood why he was part of the group. But the Andre 3000 one is interesting because, and you can debate this with anybody, but I kind of think Andre 3000 and Kanye West kind of ushered in this new sound of hip hop where everybody's singing, you know. And I think Andre 3000 and Kanye West kind of brought it to that level right now, you know, where people can act all funky and they're pretty much singing and they're, you know, but 3000, like what has he done? Really? Like he's not even, he doesn't do a lot of features even. Like you hardly ever hear from Andre 3000. To me, Andre 3000 is like a lazy motherfucker. Like he doesn't do shit. Like, I mean, so for that reason alone, I wouldn't put him in there. Like, I'd be like, no, fuck you. Like, do some work. Like, everyone else, that's why him and Lauryn Hill, they don't do no work. Like, they're not doing anything. And Rakim, I know I'm going to come off, I've never, ever been into Rakim.
I know, you weren't a fan.
I understand the whole hip-hop and all this bullshit, but I was never
What's your
into
beef with
Rakim.
Rakim? What's your beef? Just say, what's your beef?
There's no beef. I just never thought he was great.
It's a preference, then.
From that era, I'm not really into old school rap in general. I'm just not. But from that era, give me Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane any day over Rakim.
Okay. I can respect that. So,
yeah, I mean, I love Big Daddy Kane.
Are you shocked, though, that Kendrick Lamar made the list?
Yeah, because he's young. But a lot of people think he's that new Jack. He's the future, so...
Well, you're pretty honest about your feelings about hip hop and about who has the pulse on who has the finger on the pulse and whatnot. But you've never really been that negative about Kendrick Lamar, really, other than the fact you didn't like his last album. Other than that, but you think he's very talented.
I think he's all right. That's the thing. Like, I think he's all right. I just think he's vastly overrated. But like I always say, I think it's because of this class, this era of hip-hop that we're in, there aren't a lot of people who are doing what Kendrick does, which is actually being a lyricist. You know, I'll never take away from the fact that Kendrick can rap and Kendrick got lyrics. I just think he's boring. I just think he's, bottom line, boring. And if I'm listening to music, yeah, you know, you could try singing something, you got to entertain me. Like,
so,
if I'm putting 45 minutes into your album, I need to be entertained. I don't want to be, and not for nothing, as a Puerto Rican man growing up in New York, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear 60 minutes about the black man this, the black man that. That doesn't.
Oh God, there we go.
It's the truth. I mean, that's the same reason why I got turned off from Nas's music. Because Nas is really I mean, I'm driving around and you're gonna talk about the police hating us black. I'm not gonna blast this music in my car.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, and as a fan, like, I like singing along with the lyrics. How am I gonna sing along with it? You know, it's like, I understand there's a place for it. I understand it has to be said. I don't have to listen to it. I respect it. I don't have to listen to it. And for the most part, I thought the production on Kendrick's album was terrible. I think Kendrick is kind of weird. He does that weird thing where he changes his voice all the time. You know, I just don't see it. But in this era of hip-hop, there are no lyricists. So these kids need something. And for them, it's Kendrick. That's the only thing they have is Kendrick Lamar. These kids think J. Cole is like the deepest thing ever. J. Cole is what I call surface deep. He's as deep as the surface. When you think about it, it's not that deep at all. It's like his topics are thought-provoking, his lyricism isn't. And that's why I always gauge it. And I like J. Cole, too. I like J. Cole. His topics, very good. Lyrically, he's all right. Kendrick Lamar is a very good lyricist. I just find him boring.
Well, me personally, for personal preference, you know, I find a way to put Busta Rhymes on this list. For me personally, this is personal preference. He's my favorite.
You're right.
So he's my favorite of all time.
I'm with you with that.
You know?
No, let me tell you, like, I always said, like, if it was listening to me for the first time, like, I used to rap in the underground. And, you know, when you're rapping or whatever, like, you always have to feel like you're the best, or else you have no business rapping, you know? Mm-hmm. You have to feel like you're the best, no one's better than you. That's just how it is. And I've said ever since I started rapping, the one rapper I would never fuck with is Busta Rhymes, because there's no way you can beat him. There's no way you can beat Busta Rhymes in a battle, or he's out of his fucking mind. Like,
yeah, it's not style alone. It's amazing. Absolutely.
His flow, he switches up his flow a million different times. He can spit to anything. You know, I mean, but then something came out, actually. There was an interview with Rod Digger, my cousin told me. And Rod Digger said that Busta Rhymes actually has what do they call it, inferiority complex? Mm-hmm. Like, he feels like he's never going to be good enough. And that actually says a lot for how his career has gone, because he always kind of plays second, third fiddle to anybody on the track. You know, and it actually makes sense.
Yeah, he always feels like second tier. Like, he always feels like a second tier guy. I don't know. It's not fair, but he's great.
I don't understand, but it looks like he does it to himself, though. You know, it looks like he does it to himself.
So, if you had the opportunity, G. Steelio, to remodify this list, who would you take out and put in?
In no order or nothing, but Andre 3000, Lauryn Hill be gone, Rakim will be gone. I put in Big Daddy Kane. You know, Big L is going to go on that list.
Right.
And
Jadakiss?
And Jadakiss. Either Jadakiss or Scarface. Like, that's always... Jadakiss and Scarface are always, like, in my top 5, and it depends what day of the week it is for me. Like, I pick one or the other. And I'll actually keep... you kick Lil Wayne out, and you can keep both of them. I think about it. Kick Lil Wayne out, you got Jadakiss and Scarface in that list. So, yeah. Yeah, that will be it for me. But, like, Big L will be in there. Like, I'm trying to talk about who I think are the greatest ever. Like, Joe Budden to me, I know is not one of the greatest. He's one of my favorites. Like, Joe Budden to me is probably my second favorite rapper of all time. You know, but he doesn't belong in the top 10 greatest of all time, though.
Sticking to music quick. What was your reaction to Scott Weliand dying last week? Stone Temple Pilots frontman.
I'm not big on STP. I mean, obviously I'm familiar with their work, but I've always heard that he was out of his fucking mind, though, that guy. So he kind of overshot his life expectancy by like 15 years anyway.
Oh, yeah. Easily. For
everybody said he should have been dead like in the 90s. Like, so, I mean, but obviously he wore himself out, and that's just going to happen, you know. I mean, I'm surprised a lot more guys from that 90s rock era aren't dead. I mean, the biggest things for me is like him, Cobain, obviously, and Lane Staley are probably the biggest names I know that died from that rock era. You know, I mean, but those guys are all miserable, alcoholics.
Oh, no doubt. Look,
all of them.
That grunge era, Cobain,
was
Nirvana.
The most suicidal music ever. Yeah,
very, very talented.
Music ever.
But fucking depressing. Like, beyond depressing.
But I like it.
Although I don't think Scott Weiland will actually fit that, because Scott Weiland was a party guy. That guy was out.
He was just miserable he was just a miserable human being when you talk about a human being, like just a miserable person. Like he seemed like he hated his life. He was wilding out. Looked like he was trying to end it. No, because you got to be smart enough to know what the hell you're doing.
Did you see his ex-wife's reaction? The letter she wrote to Rolling Stone magazine.
He burned them.
Jesus,
he burned them. You know what though? She has every right.
Yeah,
she has every right. Every right to them. If you're going to be like that, a bad father, as she said, to her kids, then she has every right to say that.
And the funny thing is, too, G, like I haven't heard anybody criticize her for doing it.
Nah, you can't.
Once you start bringing the kids involved,
obviously she's kept quiet for so long.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to say this while he was alive, I guess, in front of her kids or whatever. I mean, whatever. I don't know why anybody would ever marry a rock star anyway. Their dick is going to dive into everything. Like,
and not only that, G, not only that, but also, but only that too. Also, I think also she also, out of respect, for the children. I mean, you don't want to be that person, and not only that, she didn't say anything else out of line.
Mm-hmm.
She was in line when she said it. There's nothing insulting. It was actually what she went through being married to that guy. And, him having a career and him putting drugs and the band ahead of her kids and stuff like that and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, and how it affected their marriage and affected his kids and whatnot. And, I mean, that's reality. I actually appreciate it.
I actually wanted to ask you a question. talking about Kendrick Lamar, talking about music. How do you feel that Kendrick Lamar got 11 Grammy nominations, the most since your boy Michael Jackson?
I mean, that tells you.